Alrighty. Welcome back to another episode of Dad Bods, Dad Boss, and it's just the two of us again, Mr. Eric and myself, as because Mr. Q Quang, he is out and about living the best life, traveling all around Australia at the moment. I don't know if you've seen some of his stuff, Eric, but only a little bit jealous of some of the cool places that he's been going. But Eric, how are you today, mate?
Yeah, feeling very good. Already a big day. I shared with you a bit before we had an appointment this morning where we had to drive for 1.5 hours out of the house by 5:30, then dropped off Tiff to work, then dropped off the little one to daycare. Started work maybe at 10:30 or 11. But yeah, getting ready for a great week. What about you?
Very cool, mate. Very cool. Just still playing rugby in the weekends, so that's always good. The body's getting a bit more, what do you want to call it? Used to it, I guess you could say. Not so sore on a Sunday morning now. And like I just joked with you earlier, can walk up and down the steps without too much pain on a Sunday morning, which is something slightly different to what's been happening earlier in the season. So, but we had a win. We had a win too. It was a local derby between Camden and Campbelltown. So 2-point win. It was a good game, good, solid, really competitive game, actually. So it's always good to have a win in those situations. Yeah, man. Yeah. Hey, I love what you spoke about, though, when you talked about, going to an appointment, then dropping Tiff off at work, and then dropping Sophia off at the at daycare, and then coming home. Because it's going to talk a lot about what we're going to talk about today, which is the role or the evolution now of the stay-at-home dadpreneur. I did some research on ChatGPT, and it said, why not talk about this? The stay-at-home dadpreneur. So that is someone who's holding down the house, doing the at-home, the parent duties, you might say, and then also they might be building a business on the side or have a little side hustle or a part-time job. So I want to talk about maybe the transition from the old-fashioned, the husband always went out and did the work, and the mum stayed home and did the family thing, and now how that's transitioned now. In fact, I heard it was on TikTok or YouTube or something like that the other day, and it talked about guys, they want to earn money so that they can take on dependents, whereas women, they want to earn money so they can be independent. Now, generalized statement, not a true statement for everybody, but a generalized statement that we're programmed to, as blokes, we're programmed to create the income so that we can we can have a family and provide for the family. And that in the past, the ladies or the wives were programmed to be the stay-at-home mum. And now there's this sort of flip where now they want to go out as well, which rightly so, and earn some money. And a lot of them use it for independence so that they don't feel like they are stuck or they feel like they have to be married or all those different things that can come from those situations as well. So, but we're going to talk a little bit more around that whole that concept of the dad being the stay-at-home dad, and then potentially the wife going out and earning more of the being the breadwinner, and how that role sort of plays out, or the shifts, the mindset shifts, and then we'll talk about the health shifts as well around the how dads can manage their health while being a stay-at-home dad as well. So I've got some questions. Mr. ChatGPT spat out some questions. So the first one is, in the rise of the stay-at-home dadpreneur. So Eric, what have you noticed more about dads that stepping into that bigger role at home while their partner is a main breadwinner, and what do you think is the major shift of the identity in those dads, especially for ones who want to try and run a business from home, but yet they're doing the drop-offs, they're doing the appointments, they're doing the school communication and all that kind of stuff. What do you think is the big shift that's required from an identity part there?
Mm. Yeah, definitely going against the grain, I guess. Like you said before, the typical model would be that the man is out there. Like, I guess not so much nowadays anymore, but back in the days, it would be you're going out, you're getting dirty, right? You're doing some really physical, labor-intense work. Maybe it's a bit more guys who are in offices today, but still, like the typical dad, would be out there, working, leaving the house early, coming home late, 5 days per week, even sometimes 6 days nowadays. So that's obviously if you're one of the dads who are staying at home more. It's definitely a shift in identity. Also, if you think about masculine energy, feminine energy, maybe that comes in there as well. I think we spoke about it in an episode before, but I guess that's a bit of a shift in your identity and the energy that you bring, because you maybe then more the nurturing part as well. You're not too much in your masculine. You're really in your feminine more, where you nurture, where you care, right? Where you're dealing more with the kids. Where maybe mean, not so much nowadays anymore, but even now, I would say, like the typical dad in Australia, I would say doesn't spend that much time with the kids during the week because you're getting out of the house early, and the kid goes to daycare or school, right? And then you maybe spend, a couple of hours in the evening and then weekend. Okay, weekend is maybe a bit more. Um, but definitely a lot of time with the kids, which is interesting on me personally. When I sometimes spend a lot of time with Sophia, I actually struggle with that. Like a lot of time, it's great for like, a couple of hours like this morning, we're driving in the car and then we go to the beach, went there for like 30 minutes and then driving back. So that's okay. But if I think about having the little one like the whole day, sometimes on the weekend, so there's definitely there needs a shift needs to happen. I think there's something about a wellness routine we are touching on later. But I would imagine, it's can be lonely sometimes because then you're home, you're not in your typical work environment, where you have other people around. You may be home with the kids and maybe you have this side hustle and you start a coaching business or like any other type of business. And then you're mostly by yourself, right? So I guess that's also could be a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And I like the idea of the shifting in the energies because it is, the old days, the old way was the masculine energy. He went out, he worked, they say 9 to 5, but probably 7 till 7 in order just to be able to make the ends meet. And especially from the industry that I'm from, the farming industry, right? Like it was all about the dad was out and, he was gone probably before daylight and back sometimes after dusk as well. Not every day, but quite often it was that case, especially the busy times. So we didn't necessarily see dad, all day, every day. And sure, he'd come home for lunch, but then he was out the door again and stuff like that. So, and then mum had to manage the house. Mum had to look after the place and manage the home as well. So I think it's a big shift because it's not what's ingrained in us. It's not what we grew up knowing anyway. But I think now about like if that role was to reverse. I mean, Jade's a stay-at-home mum now. She loves it. She's happy being that as well. She doesn't have any desire to go and get a job or anything like that, which is fine. We can make that work. But if I think about the roles reversing, like I think the first thing would be probably an appreciation for what the other person is doing. If you're in that situation where the roles have reversed. So definitely an appreciation for what Jade does as a mum like you said, day in, day out, half an hour at the beach is different to 9, 10 hours at home all day, every day. And I know that with Ezra, we're getting tested, he's 2, he was 2 just last week. So we're getting tested by a lot of his behaviors, thinking he knows better, and there's a little bit of defiance coming through and a bit of attitude and stuff coming as well. So test Jade, it tests me as well, but I can only imagine what it would be like all day, every day for her when I'm in the office on a training or I'm just doing the thing as well. So I think the first thing that would happen is the identity of taking on that full-time role and being immersed in the daily challenge of what kids are doing day in, day out, week in, week out. And then also the other thing would be probably for most of us in our situation, a different appreciation for mum. Like as we were just talking there, I think I'd have a completely different appreciation. If I had to stay at home for a whole week, 2 weeks, month, or a lifetime being the stay-at-home carer, I'd have a completely different appreciation for what mum did because, like I said, dad was out and about on the farm, and then mum helped on the farm as well as in the busy times, and give me a completely different appreciation of what mum did and respect for what she went through or what she put up with, I guess you could say, in order to be able to raise 4 of us. There was 4 boys, and we were only 2 years apart. So I think that would be a big thing that could happen from there. The identity is, like we talk about shifting the identity, that's going to be a massive thing because I guess it's different for everybody. If you've never been a dad and you guys, you get together, you get married, and you make the decision that the wife's going to go and do the work and he's going to be a stay-at-home dad, then it's not like there's a change in roles. It's kind of like those were the roles that you assigned. But if you had maybe had a couple of kids and then switched out, that maybe the wife went back to work and then you gave up the job or put the business on hold, then that could be a different sort of complexity to take on as well. But the identity, it's just about probably I wouldn't say it's going to be something you're going to know straight away. It's probably just going to be an identity that's going to shift over time as you start stepping into that role. And the truth is you probably can't pre-plan it. You probably can't, know what it's going to be like until you actually live it. It's just moving into that and stepping into what is the best version of myself for the role that I'm playing right now. And if that's the breadwinner, then this is the best version. If I'm the stay-at-home parent, then this is the best version of me right now. And how do I show up best for myself, for the family, for the kids, and everyone as well? So lots, there'll be so much to go into it. And it's quite a concept to think about because of the changing roles that are coming about.
Mm.
Very cool, mate. Very cool. Second question I had here was, what do you think is the biggest mindset or physical, probably more the physical, what is the physical health challenges for stay-at-home dadpreneurs who are juggling Zoom calls, nappies, staying sane, all that kind of stuff? So what do you think are the biggest health challenges that a stay-at-home dad might have?
Yeah, like not really having a schedule, I guess, in a certain way, because with kids, kids are getting sick and stuff, and you maybe don't have a normal routine. Like I know, like a lot of the guys, they get up early, they maybe go to the gym and then they go to work, right? Or they go straight after work to the gym and then coming home. So just from a physical exercise standpoint, you maybe have more time during the day, but you have all of these other um things where you have to be at and have to be really disciplined, I guess, with having a good fitness routine, but the same with the food, I guess, so you have the little one around you, maybe you have to cook at home, right? And you maybe don't know how to cook, I don't know, so makes it all a bit harder. And then mental health, I guess, as well, like for the same reasons that you mentioned before, you're with the little one the whole day, where I guess if you go to work and maybe that's something what we are passionate about in a certain way, or there's a certain work environment, we are maybe can more focus there. But when you're home, you're always on. You always have this little person next to you, or even more exposed, and then you don't really have a lot of time and space for yourself. So I would say that could definitely be a challenge. So then you know how can you create a good routine, a good morning routine, or maybe on the weekends, and then still working with the wife or the partner who is working, but just because she's working doesn't mean that she can't support at home as well, right? So but then there are challenges, I guess, then if the woman is the main breadwinner, and then she's coming home and she's tired, right? And then you're the whole day with the kids, which is so interesting. It gives actually so much more appreciation of what the mother actually does, or the typical mother, let's say, who would stay more home, because then when we are coming home, and then we also had a long day, and then it maybe shows us that we should be a bit more involved then as well, because she had this whole day. Yes, she maybe didn't work the whole day, but she spent like 10 or 12 hours with the little one. It will be good to have a break. So I guess something about communication with the partner, and finding a good routine. But it would certainly would be actually interesting what are the numbers on that. How many of these relationships are there? What's the percentage? So my guess would be maybe 5%. I would say maybe 5-10% of relationships.
Yeah, I would have probably guessed bigger actually. I would have been
Yeah.
closer to maybe 20%. I would have thought would be the dad was the stay-at-home dad. But I mean that's a complete stab at the dark. I'm sure we could Google it and find out. But
Yeah.
yeah, interesting. It would be interesting to understand that as well. I think yeah, I think it depends on the person too. Like if you're someone who's very structure driven, and you're the stay-at-home dad, I think that's going to really challenge you, because one thing we've noticed with Ezra is while we would like to think he would go to bed at 7 and wake up at 7, that does not happen. And even the idea of getting up early to do a workout, well, for me, I mean, it works maybe 50% of the time, 60% of the time. The rest of it, Ezra comes down and interrupts me, and then I don't necessarily get to finish the workout or whatever that I'm doing. So then I've got to transition into, okay, I'll help him with breakfast and stuff like that, because Jade's not always up, right? So I think the flexibility, it's a bit of a paradox. Flexibility is really important, but also structure is going to be really important as well. So trying to get the little one into structure, and then giving yourself the structure around the structure of the little one, but then the flexibility to give yourself the grace that just because now they're sick or they've got up early doesn't mean your day's ruined because you didn't get the workout in, or you didn't get those, that 1 hour's worth of work done before the rest of the house woke up or something like that. So it's really important to, I guess, try and find the structure, but be flexible with or not beat yourself up if it doesn't work out, would be the big thing I would be thinking of. That kind of leads into that next question I do have actually, which is, because you're big on routines, obviously. But as a dad listening right now, when he feels like everything is chaos from sort of sun up till sundown, like what would you suggest are some great ways for them to start building in more of a wellness piece into their routine as well, to look after themselves both mentally and physically? What would be some ideas that you'd have?
I guess it depends of the age of the child. If it's like younger, like Ezra, 2, so it's a bit more unpredictable. Like with Sophia right now, it's pretty okay with her routines. She's nearly 4 now. So she has a certain wake up time, and even with the nighttime, we're getting into a much better rhythm. But then using the mornings, using the beginning of the day as much as possible. Even like small things. Doesn't have to be like a big exercise session or like a big walk, but somehow, even if it's half an hour, some form of physical movement, some form of breath work, potentially some form of planning a bit a day, maybe something what I find super helpful. And I had different phases, but I know when I'm structured with my calendar, when I know what's happening during the day, when I write out a bit of a to-do list even for the day, so I actually know what's happening and feeling a bit more in control, even though things not always going after plan. But planning in the morning. But then I also think with the partner, like really having a good communication, focusing on the relationship still, So I think that's a big part as well. The better we can be a team with our partners, I think it's so important as well, because there are decisions to be made, and if there are issues in the relationship, plus all of the stress from staying at home with the kids, plus stress from work, it's a lot of different stresses on top of each other. So I think a big part is then as well to have a structure, to have like certain days on the weekend, like what we are doing now on a Sunday is our family day, where we go out exploring different places in the area and have a really good rhythm with them, and just being structured in that way. And then I guess evening routine is the same. Which then, if I would think, okay, I'm stay at home, that then maybe I want to have a bit of time to myself in the evening, where then maybe sometimes it's good to have some time with the partner, but maybe sometimes I would go to the gym, at like 7 or 8 o'clock, or go for a walk or do something that I want to do, because then typically I'm more involved beginning of the day and during the day. Maybe that's the main things.
Yeah, I love that, especially the piece around the as a team, just so you don't feel like you're on your own, like working it out, like what's your routine look like, what routine can I put together, when can I have my time, when can you have your time, and all that kind of stuff as well. I think that's really important. I would suggest probably that I'd really suggest to find that one thing that's most important, or two things that are most important to you for your own self every day, and make that the priority. That whether that's the first thing you do as soon as you get up, prior to the rest of the house waking up, or if it doesn't work out that way, maybe it is that as soon as Ezra goes down, like I'm going to go and do my workout, or I'm going to do my journaling, I'm going to do my meditation, whatever it is for you that you need for your own like self-care to recalibrate yourself and get yourself on track. I'd make that the priority. As soon as there's a window where, okay, they're asleep, or they're, maybe mum's home and they've taken them for a walk, then I'm just going to drop everything else. Nothing else matters. Most important is whatever it is that revitalizes myself or recalibrates myself. That's going to be the most important, and get that done. And then think about, well, what else can I do while they're still asleep or while they're still out? Or like you say, is it that I go to the gym in the evenings? Maybe that is just the routine that, okay, 8 o'clock I hit the gym. Maybe that's the way. But I think that's the most important, is one or two things that are really important for you every day, and make that the priority as soon as that time is available, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's during the afternoon nap, or in the evening as well. Anything else, mate? Anything else that you think might be helpful for our listeners out there as far as the idea of being a stay-at-home dadpreneur?
I think there's an element of like self-development, personal development, so maybe that's a good opportunity. I guess the kid's getting older, right? Then you have some time during the day. Then what is it that you pursue? Because I think there is something in the masculine energy that maybe, would say typically the man has more masculine energy. or like you know, more like things of creating, of like producing, maybe that's the right word, you know. So what is it then, you know? Because I imagine that would be hard if it's then only about, because there's a reason that there is a man and a woman in the relationship in the classical sense, you know. So what can the man do to like still do this type of masculine things, you know, which could be the gym, which could be, you know, playing rugby, doing martial arts, you know, and connecting with other dads still, because that's actually a big one, I would say, because if you're at home all day long, and then if you go out potentially, then you're with other mothers and their kids
Mm.
together, so you don't really have this brotherhood around you, you know. So I would say then either there's maybe communities with other dadpreneurs, um, or like actively looking for that as well, you know, because men needs this man around them. So important, so important.
Yeah, I love that actually. It's a really great point. And I like the idea of that, you know, that sport like that rugby or the martial arts to be able to bring out the masculine. Because if it's just going to waste or you're not using it, then that could have an impact on you as well. That you feel like, man, I don't even feel like a man now. Now I'm stuck at
Mm.
home. I'm doing the day-to-day at home thing, but now I don't feel like a man in any area of my life, and then that'll cause a disparity in the potentially in the relationship as well. So I definitely think finding that outlet is going to be really important. And then the other thing which you've mentioned about is just conversations like with each other, with your wife, you know, like, hey, this is where we're at. This is why it's working. Is it working for you? How you find it? Because it might get to the point where, you know, maybe she feels obliged to go to work because that's the way it's been set up, and a little bit afraid to come and ask about, can we switch roles now? Can you go back to work or something like that? So I would say regular check-ins like that, and just making sure that you guys are you're a team and on the same page, rather than feeling like you're on your own. Because like you say, it could be very lonely if you're out with
Mm.
women all the time at the daycare and the different things, and then you come home, you haven't got any mates, or you're not out with mates, or you're not doing those man things, then could definitely easily get on top of you as well.
Yes.
Very, very cool, mate. Very cool. Well, great conversation. I think it might be a great opportunity to wrap this up. So, guys, if you are a dadpreneur, then hopefully this has been insightful for you. And if you've got some feedback, we'd love for you to drop a message anywhere that you can on all different platforms that we're on. So we'd love to hear what you've been loving about that as well. And if you've got any insights that might help others, we'd love to hear and see those insights as well. So we will be back next week. I think Mr. Quang is back next week. I don't know. He's traveling across Australia. Australia's a big place. He could be gone 3 days. He could be gone 3 years. Who knows? It's many different things to see. But appreciate everyone for jumping in and listening again. And we will be back. We'll be back for another episode next week anyway, with or without Mr. Quang. So until then, Dad Bods, Dad Boss, signing out. Oh, still got the guns, mate. That's the main thing.
Let's go. Let's go.